You guys hear me? I gotta talk quietly because my partner's sleeping. I should be in bed right now. Can't sleep. But this is definitely gonna take some time to finish. What's gonna happen though is the reason why I'm so zoomed in, and then when I zoom out, like, it's almost like those details don't matter. It's because I'm planning to make this into a poster. So when you see it in real life, you can really appreciate it. As seen with the word brothers being forced to kneel. There, sharing glasses. Just yeah. It's all good. I get what you mean, man. About nighttime. Yeah, the thing about Death of Hope is that it's more of a visual journey of the universe itself. And the next release is gonna be pretty it's gonna be pretty crazy, man. Visually, it's gonna be the heaviest thing I've done. It's gonna be bigger than all the work that I've done already combined. And since there's only like 14 viewers here right now, this scene is gonna be in it. So yeah. In the early part of the stream, someone came in here and they said, do you expect subscribers by doing this cringy work that you're doing? People have a misunderstanding of me doing stuff here. I'm not a YouTuber, man. Like, I'm not trying to make money off this shit. I'm just a nerd trying to express a visual that is lost in today's, in today's market. Like, people used to draw or paint with this much care because they were very involved in the universe. I mean, like, yeah, old fantasy is that's where I began my love with everything. Old fantasy. When I first got into Warhammer, I was into fantasy. I didn't like the sci-fi stuff. That was until later that I actually came to like 40K back then. But this stuff here, you can't make it mainstream. Like, how there's people saying stuff like, oh, Warhammer should go mainstream, and then there's this old fans that say there's a market for grimdark. Yes, there's a market for grimdark, but honestly, not many people are into this. To us, this is cool. But I think there's just so much. there's way more. There's so much positive or happy stuff right now that this stuff is such a dark contrast. people would just be so turned off by it. And even back then, people got weirded out by us nerds, you know, playing D&D and stuff like that, because I think it was like the 90s. Like, people thought like there were cults going on and shit. Because when you look at the rule books or artwork of fantasy back then, it was just like, you know, it was dark shit like this. And so you kind of like had to hide that from people. Yeah, it's kind of weird. But I do remember that, man, where if you liked like wizards or, you know, mages, warlocks specifically, warlocks, my mom would get pissed off if I liked anything like that. Yeah. Oh, sorry, I'm not even reading the chat. I thought, yeah, fuck the Emperor, that forehead face, man, trypophobia. Yeah, uh, yeah. I like adding. When it comes to stuff like this, I do like adding phobias like into my work that people can relate to, and a lot of that has to do from the works of Junji Ito, which is a Japanese comic artist, and I really love his work because he does very fine detail, and he spends his time on one page, and his work is like, it's creepy to look at. And what I really like about his work is, the whole, Cthulhu, or no, sorry, what's his name? Fuck. What's his name? Shit, it's on the top of my head. Fuck. I can't think of his name, but oh, sorry, H.P. Lovecraft. So a lot of people they love the unknown aspect. Leave it to the imagination. Um, and I'm not the type to do that because just because of me being an artist or like who I am, like my brain is like constantly charged in trying to visualize um, the kind of stories he's portraying. And although I do like the mystery of some unknown things that leaves that creepiness factor, to me, what I appreciate is somebody who can make something look very scary, and you're looking directly at what's supposed to freak you out, which is kind of like the stories in H.P. Lovecraft is those characters are experiencing and seeing those creepy things. It's the reader that's left to the imagination. But what I prefer to be in is the position that the characters are in. I want to see what they're looking at and possibly be driven mad by what I'm looking at. Like to me that's where all the fun is. Anyways, it's turned into I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just sharing shit. Popping. Take it easy, man. Uh, yeah, modern 4K seems more kid-friendly than good old Grimdark it used to be. Never played back then. I think Grimdark is more fitting for such dark future. Well, and that's the thing, right? Like this here, what I'm drawing, this is Grimdark art style, um, and what sucks is, yeah, a lot of people. Like, unfortunately, you gotta understand. Like a lot of people don't like this kind of shit. Like it either weirds them out or freaks them out. Like but if you're a geek who's into fantasy and stuff, you look at this in a different light. You have a different appreciation for it. Um, you know, like I said, I grew up back then when I was into like fantasy stuff. You know, the, people literally thought you were gonna summon a demon in the basement playing, D&D or you know, as long as there's wizards and magic and shit. Yeah, my mother was on that train, and like a lot of things I couldn't enjoy, but you know, it made what it didn't help was it made my curiosity stronger. So I know she's trying to shield me, but kind of did the opposite. You know, I thought this tree was gonna take. I thought I was being really quick with this tree, um, but it'll be a really nice tree when it's done. But fuck me, is it a lot of it's a lot of work. Yeah. And I try to make it like not all the same. For the most part, like its general body structures, it'll be it'll be this, and then I'll put like faces in it, or a twisted body, you know. Yeah. I respect the grim man. Good luck out there. I'm a gigolo. It's not so bad. Just kidding. I'm a Oregon driver at the moment. It's fucking well shit. Hey man, um, any job right now is a blessing. Doesn't matter what you're doing. Um, Over here in Ontario, people are just there's so many jobless right now because of what happened um, recently, right? So whatever job you have, you know, you are lucky. End of the day, though, whatever you do for a living, man, it doesn't matter as long as it puts a roof over your head and you got food on the table. All the other social exception shit of what you do is doesn't matter. It's just human socialized crap that, in the grand scheme of things, will all be part of you know the universe soon. I'm getting all what do you call that? I'm getting all I can't think of a word. I'm part like my brain is like part functioning, but not really right now. Like I said, I should be in bed. Whatever. When you make this as a poster, are you gonna sell it? So this will be a poster for the Patreons. I'm making sure I have something for them when it's all over. I'm not gonna, you know, I'm not gonna sell it. I'm not trying to make money off of GW's IP, but I just want to make sure that they are rewarded for their contribution. So this will be part of an art book that'll be there. But yeah, I couldn't be distributing this. Um, would be nice, like as an art book, but you know, you know. I never played D&D, never knew what D&D was. Now I'm mad. Oh, it's all good, man. I actually, to be honest, I didn't play D&D when I was a kid, but I did play wizard, dress up as wizards and orcs and knights and shit. so so geeky, but we did stuff like that. We played. I played a lot of fantasy games, but I never got into D&D just because um, I didn't know anybody that played that. I didn't even know that was a thing back then. But given the fact that I was into fantasy, dragons, knights, and shit, I would have definitely got into it. But I did play it several years ago with some coworkers at another studio. Let me know if you guys can't hear me. I'm not. I'm trying to keep my voice down. I thought Death of Hope is monetized one way or another. Death of Hope is not monetized. I don't like monetizing videos. If there is monetization, it's not me. YouTube's doing something. It's not. It's not coming from me. Like I said, I didn't do this to make money or anything. A lot of what I do with Death of Hope and this is I'm really trying to introduce something that we grew up with, whether or not people like it or not. It's more about giving people a taste of something different that we grew up with, and also and for me the main goal is to give old fans a something nostalgic to look at. Like when they look at it, they're like, oh, that looks familiar, or um, you know, just, oh my goodness, oh, I'm getting sleepy. That's a good sign. Uh, Existential. I made my own system, my own world, and got all my friends to play with me. Nice, man. Yeah, no, it's. I definitely know the capabilities of D&D, and what sucks is that D&D was like, the it's almost like the fabric of making a video game, like in terms of its mechanics and stuff. It's just like, and games don't even have that anymore, you know. Yeah, my partner saw this severed head, and she was quite disturbed about it. She doesn't mind me, doing this stuff, but she's an artist, so she understands perfectly like the whole expression thing. Um, it's just severed head is not exactly everyone's cup of tea. I only wish I had the artistic talent to help show my friends what I can describe. Building my own system was super hard, but very rewarding. Thought about commissioning an artist several times, but well, it's all good, man. I think what you should do really is find an artist, or what you could do is like, even if you have no money, like if you find an artist that's just as passionate as you are, you know, about about a certain idea or whatever. But that's the thing, right? It has to be like shared between you. It can't be. It's more of like a partnership at that point, you know. But I get it. It's your own thing, and it's you want to hold the cards as close as possible to yourself, especially when it's like your baby. Oh, fuck. Oh man, I'm getting sleepy. I wonder how long it's gonna take me to finish this. I've given myself until Thursday to work on this, so I've been working on this for about a week. Well, it'll be about a week come Thursday. Um, yeah, details are mighty crazy. And the way I'm measuring the details, especially for like way in the distance, is I'll zoom in, and at some point, the resolution gets like you can kind of see it, right? Like it gets a bit pixely there. I stop it right before that, so that's what helps me define the detail in the distance from here. So we'll see. Oh, I'm starting to yawn a lot now. Holy shit. I'll go for just a little bit longer here. Oh, a little bit too much. But yeah, I find I'm on YouTube just to share an art style. Um, Nothing in return. If you want to support, you can, but other than that, it's not. I'm not going out of my way to post support button or whatever. Or, you know, and then there's a lot of people who come to me and say, if you want to get more money and get more views and subscribers, you might want to change the way you carry yourself. Um, I'm not, like I said, I'm not here for any of that, man. I could care less about that. Because, you can't tell me all the YouTubers out there that are making a living off YouTube, they will say the same thing to please everybody. Like they don't have their own opinion, but I don't like that lifestyle, man. That's not for me. Well, if I was a YouTuber, I wouldn't say anything. I would just focus on whatever the hell it was I was doing. I wouldn't even touch this subject. What the hell am I even talking about right now? Shit. Whatever. Hey, what'd you do at 2:22 in the morning? I was just, saying random shit. It's funny because like when it's this late and you're just talking, I know you guys are there. All 15 of you, 16. It's funny because like no one's like verbally talking back. So it's and I'm not always looking at the chat box, so sometimes it feels like I'm just talking to myself. I mean, that's if I'm talking. My last few streams, I haven't been talking just because I want to get a lot of groundwork in this. Well, there's two reasons. I want to get a lot done, and um, second reason is during the daytime, you know, I share my living space with my partner, and I just don't want her to have to tiptoe around the microphone. You know, I want her to be, you know, able to go around freely without having to think, oh, is he streaming or should I say anything? You know, so that's another reason. I'm gonna have to become a Patreon member. The more I see this, the more I want it, as opposed to just for the appreciation to detail and artistic passion. Hey man, it'll be cool, you know. But you know, I'll tell you right now, if you want it right away, it's not gonna happen. It'll be like, you know, it'll be after the project is over. Um, that's when I'll be able to have the time to collect all the artwork and put it together in a good format and stuff like that. I'll have a personal. It'll be like a legit art book. Like I'll have writing in it and shit as to why I did certain things and you know what inspiration these things came from. All that shit. You know, it'll be available as a a PDF for the second highest tier and for the final tier. I don't know if I should do a physical copy. I really don't. That's I know how expensive it is to print books, and it's just like fuck. But yeah, it's gonna take a couple more years to finish, but that's kind of you know what it takes to do something like that. Yeah. So you can support at any time. I'm just telling you if you want this, it'll be later, just so that you know you're not disappointed about that. But there is other stuff there I think you'd find interesting that relate to the Death of Hope project if you're into that shit. And for the most part, I usually keep that under wraps. Like I don't really talk to anybody anymore about a lot of what's going on with Death of Hope, like publicly. Like this is probably the only time I've ever actually spoken since last year about anything. So you officially know more than everyone outside of um, you officially know more than everyone that's not on Patreon. Oh, excuse me. Fuck. I'm really digging this tree, man. Like, painting it is relaxing. For some reason. Hey, Mark, just watching and listening. Hey, man, that's all good. I don't know how long I'm going to be on for. Um, this is just like a random stream, so. And it's like really late. Well, when do I ever plan a stream? I guess they're all random. But this one is pretty late. I don't usually stream this late. It is 2:27 a.m. over here. Oh man, I also noticed too, like every stream, I haven't missed a single stream where I'm not sniffling. Like what the hell? That's so annoying. I don't know about you guys, it bothers the shit out of me. Like when I listen to the stream, I'm just like, man, just telling myself to shut up. It's like, dude. control that shit. Hey, nothing wrong with supporting an artist's passion for the whole process. You really introduced me to the idea of chaos being truly frightening and changed my view and opinion on it. Hey man, yeah, like, oh right, yeah, my story. That actually reminds me. When I first got into Warhammer, this is like in the beginning of the damn chat, and I totally like forgot about it. Yeah, so I liked fantasy before I got into Warhammer, and so I was you know I was organically a fan of fantasy, Warhammer fantasy, and I always loved the idea of dark knights or evil knights, you know, and when Lord of the Rings came out, and when you see when you see the Phantom Kings, the Nazgul, I'm just like, oh, those are fucking awesome, you know. So yeah, when I went to Warhammer, or sorry, yeah, Warhammer, Chaos Warriors, man, oh, so cool. And then when I got into their lore and everything, I was loving the hell out of it. But one model I think that I liked that wasn't a Chaos Warrior when I was younger was that model of the ogre, the dragon ogre. I have to catch up on my fantasy because I dropped fantasy pretty early after my first several purchases of fantasy. I only got to read like the the Chaos Warriors rulebook and the Chaos Demons and stuff, and I never got into the novels, so I really have to catch up on it. It's actually like I'm starting to shift to that now. Um, and it's not because Old World is coming back. I mean, I've been I throughout the decades I always lean towards a certain thing if maybe like I'm having too much of one of them, and I think it's just come to that point now where I'm just kind of like, all right, I've focused on the Horus Heresy for about 10 years now, like full. Like every decade I switch between fantasy and 40k, which is awesome, you know. Nice, people are starting to trickle in here. I mean, like I said, I don't know how long I'm gonna do this stream, so um, if you're coming in late, that's cool. Just talking about Warhammer and shit. What other genres do you like besides Warhammer? It might. I mean, okay, so I have two things in my life, and they're both polar opposites from each other. One is Warhammer, and the other one's Pokemon. Not today's Pokemon. All right, I'm not down with fucking, you know, food items becoming Pokemon, or sandcastles becoming Pokemon, or those new furry Pokemon that look like cosplay outfit type of Pokemon. If you're into that stuff, that's cool. It's just not for me. I think I dropped out like second generation Pokemon. But anyways, there's only two things for me, and it's those two. It's Warhammer, which is both 40k and fantasy, and then there's Pokemon. Um, the reason why I still hold Pokemon in my life is just because it's more of a nostalgic trip. You know, I think if Pokemon was like introduced right now, I would not be into it. But I think it's just because Pokemon resembles a part of my life where, yeah, it felt good, you know. And then there's Warhammer, and I really like the very grim dark aspect of it. And I feel like because I like the heavy dark shit of Warhammer, the Pokemon crap is like a really good balance to the two, you know, like they just kind of balance me out. Because it's just because I do dark shit doesn't mean like that's who I am, you know, like a decapitated head on a pole, you know, like what does that say about me? You know, absolutely nothing. Like I wouldn't go out and do that to somebody, nor would I like, you know, um, yeah. I mean, I don't know. People would be surprised, I think, if they met me in real life. Like I'm pretty edgy when it comes to Warhammer and being like all. You guys know how I get with this shit. I get pretty stupid, um, but my demeanor is completely different, like in person, and also I think like just by talking to me, like through conversation, just even if it's like this. But when it comes to the keyboard, you know, I feel like a lot of the context is lost. And when people read stuff online, they're going purely based off of how they feel about what you wrote, like how they feel about like yeah, the context could change depending on the subject that you're talking about to them in their minds without hearing how it's coming out of your face. You know what I mean? Oh my god, this is what I'm talking about so late in the morning. What other genres do you like? Wow, what was not expecting that. Yeah, I know it's not expected. Not today's Warhammer. Yeah, the grim darkness drew me into Warhammer from Star Wars and Star Trek. Okay. Well, if there's other ones that I could talk about that I really like or love, um, I'm talking about actively. Lord of the Rings, the first trilogy. I have the book The Hobbit, and I read that when I was a kid, but I never read the whole thing. And when the movie came out, there was names that were familiar and stuff like that. So I was pretty into that. Um, I'm just I'm also trying to avoid a lot of things now that are being rebooted because they just should stay dead. Like they ended on a good note kind of thing. I just don't want like the whole rebooting. Lord of the Rings thing. I am not down for that. I don't. I didn't hear any of the news for it, so I'm not gonna. I don't want to get into it. Like I don't want to ruin it for me. And with Lord of the Rings, I watch that movie, that trilogy, um, once a year. I've never missed a single year without watching Lord of the Rings, like the entire um, trilogy. But in terms of other things that are being active, it's either Pokemon or this um, that I can say I've done like within the past couple months. But with Lord of the Rings, I usually will start watching Lord of the Rings on Christmas. To me, for some reason, Christmas and Lord of the Rings they fucking go together. For some reason, yeah, I don't know. So I think for me it helps satisfy the itch for a grim, dark, gritty Star Wars story. Yeah, Star Wars is getting too dull, so grim, so dark. That's cool. Yeah, Lord of the Rings. A lot of the other stuff though, like Star Trek, Stargate. Um, I watched, but not. I wasn't paying attention to what was going on. Mostly because I watched it with my dad, you know, and I would be looking at like art books of like dragons and shit while he's watching Star Trek. I can remember I'm eating jubes with some hot dog with a plate of hot dogs and Kraft dinner, and then after that salt and vinegar chips. And back then he used to smoke indoors, so yeah, you would hear the smoke, and or sorry, you'd smell the smoke in the air, and he's playing Star Trek, or you know, Stargate. Stargate I thought was cool, man. I actually really like Stargate. All I have left is 40k, and that's been going in a direction I don't like. That's me right now, man. I mean, what I did actually is I gave up all my Warhammer stuff. I don't know if I don't know if you guys seen it, but I gave up a lot of my miniatures um, last year, like in December. I sold a lot of it, about 98%. And then I just kind of sat there seeing if I could do it. And I did find another hobby, which is, trilobites. I'm really fascinated about trilobites. I have been ever since I was young, but I could never, get an actual fossil. Um, and I can see now why, because they're actually really expensive, and you have to make sure that they're um, actually real because of all the counterfeits out there. But anyways, yeah. So after all this is over, I'm gonna be, doing trilobites um, and Warhammer Fantasy. I can never actually get rid of Warhammer. It's part of me, man. It's the only thing that I've kept really close to my heart. Everything else has just been like, you know, avid interest, whereas this is like this is like my flesh and blood. I feel when it comes to Warhammer, and it always has been. Um, when you're in forums and stuff, and you don't like certain things, and you're outspoken about it. I've been told off by people that them saying stuff like, "Well, why don't you just leave?" It's just like it's not that simple. These people, they've never probably had something where it was part of them basically. I don't know. I don't understand that thinking where it's just like, oh, go find something else. That's not how it works. I don't know. Anyway, so part of the reason why I do, that's part of the reason why I'm doing this too is this is almost like a love letter to a lot of the old fans that have really supported what I've been doing, and also a gift to new Warhammer fans that, like I said, might like something a little different than what they see now. So, what Warhammer fantasy novels you think of reading, Mark? Um, so, like I said, I didn't get into. I didn't start reading the novels for fantasy. I didn't get a chance to. I finished the codex when I first got into Warhammer a long time ago, but the rule book, like all the lore in there. But shortly after, I made a switch to 40k. But I was always a fantasy fan before GW, which is why I went to fantasy first. But the book that I have here, one second. The book that I have here that I'm waiting to read is the Conrad Saga by David Faring, and I can't wait to read this. The thing is, I don't have time to read it, but it is definitely going to be rewarding to read after I'm finished Death of Hope, because after Death of Hope, I'm going to be hobbying for fantasy instead, and just catching up with everything. Yeah. But I heard the Conrad Saga is the shit, so I made sure to pick it up before, uh, you know, yeah. I also have, but the one book that I really love is Slaves to Darkness, um, which, like I said, this is what this is hugely inspired off of, all this stuff I'm doing right here. Slave to Darkness, the art in Slave to Darkness is the kind of shit that my grandmother used to buy me. My grandmother used to buy me these fantasy books that look like Slave to Darkness, so it's actually quite funny. My grandmother isn't the typical grandmother. She would get me pretty cool stuff. Alright guys, this has been awesome, but I'm out, back to my own design work. I'll catch you later. Take care. Later, Jeff. It's magic. I don't know the artist, but have you seen the movie Wizards, or the old school Hobbit movies? That off-putting style is what draws me in and capture the grim darkness of Warhammer perfectly. That's awesome, man. I'll have to look at that. I don't think so. What do you think about the new Necromunda game? The one where you play a bounty hunter. Um, there's a new Necromunda game. Okay, so I haven't been on the latest news of anything, guys. Like, if you like, everything is news to me right now. Well, I guess the only thing I know about is it seems like they're doing a reboot with their Horus Heresy line. And as much as I am a fan of Horus Heresy, I don't know, man. I don't want them touching that, but I think it's going to be good for a lot of people who've been wanting to get in on the Horus Heresy, so I'm happy for them. Oh, what do I care? It's not like I give a shit anymore, right? I'm liking this tree. I wish I could do this in 3D. This depth of the tree. I don't know. Maybe I might give it a shot. Oh, your grandmother's rad. Oh, dude, she's awesome, man. Growing up, she kept me in the fashion loop when I was, 14. She knew what was the in thing, and whenever she took us to, whenever summer was over, she would take us, shopping for new clothes. I didn't really give a shit what I wore, but she was just pointing me in different things and stuff like that. So, yeah. She even got me what was it? Uh, sorry, my brain just farted. I can't even think right now. I forgot what I was gonna say. Oh, I forgot what I was gonna say about my grandmother giving me some. Fuck. She's pretty cool, man. I might do. I guess a lot of people have been asking me what's been going on. I've just detached myself a lot from Facebook's um, comments this year, and it's actually done me so much good. Yeah. Actually, I've been doing what is it? During Christmas break, I did like what do you call that? Like a cleanse, like a media cleanse. I don't know what the fuck you call it, but yeah, I kind of like avoided anything that had to do with internet garbage for like a month. I just feel great. Oh man, last year was shit though. Holy shit. I might do a video on that just to tell people what's going on. Like how I'm doing now. Like I'm fine now, but last year was. I had like many things happening in my life converging, and then I have Death of Hope, and then the way I handled that fucking mess, you know. Yeah, I was a wreck. Horse Heresy is definitely not the same as it was a few years ago, and that scares me. Even the way they paint the display models look like 40K. Yeah, so if you look at the older models of the. Yeah, if you look at the older models and the way they're painted, it's just like a simple base layer of paint. Um, and the weathering was done with like black, like chaos black with like a sponge, you know, and some of them even had like silver scratches, like details, very fine details. But now it looks cartoony, um, and I don't know if a lot of people understand what we mean by cartoony when we see that, but um, I know what you mean, man. I wish they took the base idea of the Praetor armor, that like the standard Praetor armor, and they just kind of built on top of that, and then like putting Legion specific things on. I just feel like that would have been a better direction, because a lot of their Praetor ideas for Legion specific stuff, they don't look as artificer as the standard model for Praetor units. You know, the Legion Praetors. Like, I just feel like they should have just built on top of what they had before. Not to mention the leather straps and capes they design these days. I don't know where they got the idea, but they have like this. Oh, here I'm in front of the computer. I'll show you. Um, so I'll make a new layer. I can just show you right here. Here's how GW have been doing capes. So here is us older Horus Heresy resin crack addicts. One sec. Here is us older Horus Heresy crack addicts who used to have, you know, okay, here's a cataphracti shoulder. right? This is a cataphracti shoulder. Right? And then the straps used to flow naturally, like as if there was actually gravity to them, and they would also overlap each other and flow into each other, kind of like this. Kind of like something like that. And then they would form around the armor that they are on top of. And that's it. And sometimes they would, they would bend over like that, but then they would still display some kind of like natural flow to them. But now, okay, here is what they do nowadays. So this is when they gave a shit. And then this is what they do now. Well, also, they also had studs at the bottom. If you look at the plastic cataphracti terminators, they don't have studs on these at all, which is really showing you the limitation of plastic. So if they ever do bring the Horus Heresy line to plastic, you're gonna get a lot less. Okay, so here's what they would have done now with the detail for that kind of shit. And these lines here represent, like, where they're bending. I don't understand why they're starting to do these like lightning bolt bends. Oops. I don't understand why they're trying to do these lightning bolt bends in their art now, or in their models now. You can't deny it's not it's cartoony, or it's not cartoony. And here's another example. I should record this and then make it like a thing. They're Chaos Warriors. Okay. We liked fantasy because it also emulated a bit of realness to it, real life, especially with the armor. Well, later editions anyway. The armor started looking more like something you'd find outside or in a museum, but now it's just dumb. Okay, so oh shit, I drew it too high. One sec, I got carried away there. Okay, so here is a helmet, right? This is gonna be like really simple, and this is how we used to do helmets. It was either like this, or sorry, horns. That's what I'm trying to get at, horns. We used to do curve, right? We used to just make a simple curve and it went into the helmet like that. What they do now is, here's a helmet, And then, for some reason, this is how Chaos Warriors look like. Like, what's up with that? What is this? You know, that doesn't look like it grew off an animal. You know, I might have drawn that a little cooler than what they would have done it. You get what I'm saying? Like, I don't understand where all this squiggly stuff is coming from, but it totally takes away from what you expect. You know, and not to mention the posing is not intimidating. Okay, so this is just my opinion, right? I know I'm sounding like an asshole now, but I think I'm just also venting. Oh shit! I should have. I'm not doing this in layers. Anyway, you guys get the fucking picture. You know? What are you guys doing? And I don't know, and not to mention their shields now, the Chaos Warrior shields. I don't know, it's not for me, guys, but you know, shields. This was like the standard shield. You know, it was a standard shield. Even Harry the Hammer's shield is like, it almost looks like this. Archaon's shield looks like this. But now the shields look like this. Like, they look like they're not made out of, they look like they weren't forged in, they don't look metal. I don't know, like, what the fuck? They look like that. Like, what the fuck? Anyways. Oh, and oh, here, one more. Their silhouette used to be like this. Like, that's a Chaos Warrior. But now it's like, that's not intimidating. What the fuck? I even spelled it out. What the fuck? Anyways, that's my opinion on their designs these days. I don't know. Maybe I'm just old. I'm only 30 years old, man. No, I don't know. Anyways, I think I've rambled for a really long time about a lot of unnecessary shit. So yeah. How would you? Oh shit. Okay. Hope you doing. How would you 3D model Alpha Legion scales? Well, I'd have to show you. 3D modeling animation scale. I'd have to show you. I don't have my editor open at the moment, or my 3D program open. This is not what I needed to see before going to bed. Oh well, I guess I'm listening to Wayne June reading Lovecraft in order to lull me to sleep. For an online session. Looks like a Sith stuck in his helmet. Speaking of posing, every character has 1 foot on a rock, everyone. Fuck. I don't know. One of my favorite models for Warhammer Fantasy Chaos is the Chaos Lord on mount. Remember that metal one? He's just sitting there, and the horse is just in a idle pose, and all he's doing is turning his head slightly. Like that looks menacing. That's like he's on a hilltop looking down at your ass, and you know you're fucked. That's all you need. But now every horse is doing some kind of neighing thing. Okay, I'm starting to what was it? Talk about um, stupid shit. Well, it's not stupid, but I get pretty stupid when talking about that kind of stuff. Alright. When I said I was gonna go, like, I don't know how long ago, but I feel like ever since I turned on the mic and I'm actually talking to you guys now, I'm just kind of like going with it. Yeah, let it out, yeah. I mean, those are just my opinions. I don't actually give a shit anymore, so I shouldn't even, like, those are just my thoughts, but I really don't care at this point. The only thing that I do have control over is creating my own stuff. But for the sake of other people out there that are still in the hobby, I really do hope they do the old world justice for people who are familiar with it. I'll be taking a look at it just because, like I said, that's how I got into Warhammer, was fantasy. So old world is definitely something that I'm into. I just hope the art style isn't um, isn't too alien, I guess. Favorite Legion, looks wise, lore wise. I'm guessing word bearers. No, dude, I'm. It may not seem like it based on what I'm doing here, but I am an Ultramarines fan. Not a 40k Ultramarines fan. 30k, which is completely different from 40k. Um, 30k, and then my secondary Legion, which is not that far away from Ultramarines, is World Eaters. But I am not biased with my Legion. I will make them go through hell because, in my opinion, they are not Mary Sue's when it came to the Horus Heresy. Although in some cases they're written like Mary Sue's in the Horus Heresy, but not to the extent that 40k has done it. Yeah. Why do I like them? Because when I started, my favorite, I like blue. I like my favorite color is blue when it comes to that. When I was doing, well, that's the thing. I like blue, and then I like red, and it makes sense because blue is Ultramarines, red is World Eaters. Well, their Legion in the Horus Heresy isn't red, but well, maybe later in the Crusade, later in the Heresy, they started switching to red and white armor. But when I got into Warhammer and I took up Chaos Warriors, I got into the followers of Khorne for the Chaos Warriors, so I just painted them up red. Um, my first batch, though, was Slaanesh, not gonna lie. And then I found that it wasn't really my jam, so I switched over to red, and it was pretty dope. Favorite Legion looks wise, lore wise. Favorite Legion lore wise? I don't think I have one for a Legion lore wise. The storyline that I really love is Garrow and his journey from Istvan to Terra. And yeah, opinions aren't law, and if people don't like them, they aren't forced to listen. I know. I understand that. Like, I am aware that I am starting to like say certain things that try to say that. Oh, you know, I'm making sure you guys know that this is just me. I'm just. I think that's a lot. I think that has to do a lot with work and just the state of the world right now. Like, I feel like it just comes out. Like, I have to be mindful of that shit now. I don't have fuck you money, so I can't really be saying things all the time. You know. Uh, Random question, but how many layers are you working on with right now? Um, just 4 layers. The first layer is a sketch. The second layer is a shadow, and they're all on the same one except for the blood letter. He's on his own. So I guess 8 layers because he himself is 4 layers, and then everything else here is 4 layers. I remember reading the Flight of the Eisenstein. Yeah, dude, that was fun. Not a fan of Garrow. Love Dorn for what he did. I guess if you don't like Garrow and you like Dorn for punching him in the face, nearly killing the guy, then I guess that works. You know, I don't the time that I don't like Garrow, which didn't make any sense, was when he won that sword fight with that custodian. I just thought that was a bit too much. Did you study fight choreography when you animate fights in Death of Vogue? No, I mean I did my own references and stuff like that, but I don't have any background in that. If you were to even like, and most people don't even like know this about animation, it's so hard to make something move at all. Uh, it's not like, yeah, it's not like if I record myself doing something without the mocap suit, a walk cycle could take about a month for someone who doesn't know what they're doing to perfect. And most of the time, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. So, because to me, I'm still learning all this stuff. So, if you don't have, if you're doing it manually, it could take about a month to do a really nice looking run cycle. Having someone being punched in the face and having the force of impact travel through the arm and then into the guy's face and then translate that guy's head movement with the body. Fuck, I don't even want to get into that. Actually, someone in our college tried to teach us that way. He's an animator. He tried to teach us that way off the bat. Like it was supposed to be an introductory course. 98% of the class failed. You know, I included. I failed that shit. I almost failed the second animation class because I couldn't give two shits about animation. I was absolutely not interested at all. And then here I am, trying to self teach myself something I ignored in school. I can't wait till Death of Hope is over, man. I do not like animating. I still don't like it. Like, the only thing that keeps me going is being able to leave behind something in the fandom that represents something that we liked, while things change. I just want to, I'll die happy. It may sound stupid. It may sound stupid, I know. That I would die happy knowing Warhammer had a proper representation of what the fans used to like about it. It sounds really stupid, but that's what it is. But in the grand scheme of things, nothing truly matters, really. We're just like we're just like a snap of a finger in time. The only thing that's important that you leave behind are your teeth, because only your teeth have the ability to be fossilized. I had this moment of thought when I was looking at my trilobites. I was like, it doesn't matter what this trilobite thought at the time, if it had that structure in its mind to do so, was if it had all the thoughts in its head or opinions, doesn't matter, because all that's left with is imprint of its organic form or biological form. None of it exists. Just, sediment replacing each of its atoms individually to become something of a memory. What the fuck am I talking about? Holy shit. What the fuck? Oh man. I don't smoke weed, but can you imagine when I used to smoke weed, the shit I would talk about? The galaxy, for some reason, was just like always the topic. The universe. Even when I used to get drunk. I say used to because I haven't drank since we stopped going to work. Just working from home. The prophet has spoken. Yeah, what the fuck, man? I was totally talking with some out of this world shit for a second. For one of the projects we animated over video references, looked pretty good. Nice, yeah. They did teach us that too. I just didn't care. He started a massive ripple though. The prophet has spoken. There's always cryogenics. Once the kinks are figured out, cryogenics. How late is it over there? It is 3 a.m. The thing about cryogenics, like what I'm talking about, is like if our race just like got wiped out, like completely, because of because we're a young race, right? Trilobites are the most successful species on the planet in terms of how long they were here for. So they were actually pretty advanced in a way with their build, like their eyes, because their eyes were for each lens of a trilobite, because their eyes were made out of rock, but they were able to create their first eyes using half a rock and then something else, because the rock they used was like a oh fuck, my brain's not working and I'm getting all deep and shit. It just does not go well together. Fuck, I can't. No, I'm not. I'm not even gonna. I can't. Maybe another time we can pick that up again. I'd love to get in the subject. I fucking love that shit, but I'm just so fucked right now. Jeez. Oh man. I don't even need to like have a stream where like I drink. I could just stay up really late and I just sound totally wasted. If you want a historical rabbit hole, get into the ending of the last ice age. Came for the art, stayed for the biology. Fucking hell. Oh man. All right, I think I better go to bed. I'm talking about, I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about anymore. I think I made some progress here. I really need to get back on the head of this guy because the polish I've done over here now is way past this guy. So, if anything, this guy is making me sleepy for some reason, you know. I wouldn't want my eyes sewn shut, though. But, anyways. Yes, calcite. There you go. Fuck. I have like I have like books on everything I've been reading, but I just can't read. I just can't think right now for shit. Well, my favorite, the trilobite I did want to get was the Urbana chili, but that it's the trilobite with the turrets for eyes, and that was further reinforced by David Attenborough's documentary. You know, the one with Richard Forty. Richard Forty is the leading scientist for trilobites, so it was nice to see him on that documentary. But when they showed it again, I was like, fuck, I need to get my hands on that. But for a really good specimen, I just couldn't. I already have one prized specimen that cost me a lot. I don't know if I can afford to do an Urbana chili, like a good specimen. Fuck. Oh shit. I better log off because when we start talking about shit like this, I start getting excited and passionate, and it's acting like caffeine. And I'm gonna be here all night talking about trilobites and old grimdark artwork and painting mindlessly as I find the words to describe how I'm gonna end this stream right now. Okay, well, it was nice having you guys around, but I gotta check out. But yeah, this is like the first time I ever started talking this year for like the longest time, like for like a long time. I think I've spoken like once or twice, but it was very like minimal. Anyways, I'll talk to you guys later. It was nice having you guys around this late in the night, and look forward to more. Since there's only a few of you on right now, I'll only tell you guys. I don't like talking about it like publicly. I don't like confirming shit for people. But for you guys, I'll just say that yes, Death of Hope is still being worked on. Yeah. Anyways, I will go to bed now. You guys have a good night. All right.